What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Tater Time. Today we're going to be discussing Obi-Wan's hidden battle secret, the high ground. So if you're unfamiliar with the theory of the high ground, Obi-Wan consistently abuses this seemingly mystical power throughout all of the Star Wars movies. Here's the popular clip where he reveals his secret to Anakin and their battle on Mustafar.
It's over, Anakin! I have the high ground! You underestimate my power! Don't try it!
As you can see, Anakin ignores Obi-Wan's warning and is thus defeated by the high ground. But you see, Obi-Wan doesn't need to be on the high ground. The high ground just needs to exist in the battle. Obi-Wan knows that even when he has the low ground, he really has the high ground, just from a different point of view. To understand what I'm talking about, let's take a look at his battle record. In his battle against Darth Maul in the palace hangar on Naboo, he initially has the low ground and he knows he's in danger. He uses his force jump to gain the high ground and thus wins. Now, adversely, when Obi-Wan is fighting Count Dooku on a Star Destroyer in Revenge of the Sith, he is fighting him on a level battlefield and thus loses. So he goes on, he learns the error in his ways when he travels to Utapu to defeat General Grievous, where he attempts to abuse the high ground once again. General Grievous, however, knows the potential of this technique and flees the scene.
Army or not, you must realize you are doomed.
Oh, I don't think so.
Now, this one might get you scratching your head, but trust me, this duel demonstrates Obi-Wan's mastery of the skill. His fight with Vader in A New Hope. But Obi-Wan loses here, is what you're probably thinking, but you'd be wrong. You see, Obi-Wan has the moral high ground, and thus allows Vader to strike him down so that he can become more powerful in the form of Force Spirit, and thus help Luke bring down Vader and Palpatine later on. Obi-Wan Kenobi, with his mastery of the low and high ground, is in fact the most powerful Jedi there is. Had Yoda not denied Obi-Wan's request with typical Jedi arrogance, he himself could have defeated Palpatine in the Senate building, which housed a variety of different altitudes. Palpatine also understood this and thus designed the Senate complex so that the Chancellor could always have the moral high ground in Senate debates. Yoda also acknowledges how powerful this technique can be when he retreats from the Chancellor once he reaches the Senate floor and has no way of taking back the high ground from the evil Emperor. Alas, Obi-Wan did not fight Palpatine, and Yoda soon learned that you can't cleave the sheev in a normal 1v1. As we all know, spinning is a good trick. However, only the Chosen One can spin outside of a starfighter. Palpatine tried spinning, but lost. But this was kind of intentional, as losing gave him the emotional high ground when Anakin arrived. The reason for this is that spinning provides a yin-yang approach based in Eastern philosophy on balance, giving the spinner the high ground from above and below. This is why Obi-Wan was so emotional after defeating Anakin on Mustafar. He expected to lose the high ground to the spin, but Anakin failed to maintain balance in the universe, which is also symbolic of his fall to the dark side. Here's a popular quote. Anakin doesn't hate sand for the reasons he told Padme. All Jedi hate sand, as the battlefield can rapidly change between low and high ground. This is the only reason why Obi-Wan killed Darth Maul in the animated series Star Wars Rebels. Interestingly enough, this is also linked to why Obi-Wan hates flying. In space, there is no high ground, as there is no frame of reference from which there is to gain a high or low ground, due to the lack of gravity. And also, why do you think Vader was so invested in the construction and maintenance of the Death Star? Because he knows Obi-Wan can't have the high ground if there's no ground left to walk on, as in blowing it up. In Return of the Jedi, you can see the throne room contains a variety of different altitudes. Palpatine placed these there to ensure Vader's defeat. However, the Sheev failed to realize that his weakness was no ground at all, and should have covered that gaping pit that does nothing.
Now, young Skywalker, you will die. In conclusion, Obi-Wan abuses spatial relativity and the Buddhist doctrine in order to invoke his high ground powers. Any questions? Leave your thoughts in the comments section below, and like this video because, well, the high ground.